All right. Am I meant to turn this one up? Okay. Are we all online? All right, there we go. All right, so this is Scare Bear lining up with Anorexia.
Hello.
To commentate the BCR Scartel's second game and Perth Men's Roller Derby first game of the day. We're all ready to go. Steve Holt. I'm quite sure that all you Perth fans will be going, Holt, Holt, Holt. Holt. All right, up against RPG, number 71. It's getting awfully hot here in the tin shed.
Well,
so we'll sit there and try to make sure we're maintaining some water. I don't know how hot it is over in Perth right now.
Probably pretty hot still. Yeah.
All right,
but they are 3 hours behind us, so at the moment we're up to 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So they're getting up pretty early on a Saturday morning
That's
to watch
all right.
their,
We were up early today.
Absolutely.
We were sitting there and baking and making sure we got out here in time to sit there and commentate the first game, which would have been, God, if you were up for the Scartel's first game of the day in Perth, that would have been 5:30 this morning.
Absolutely. People doing research, very dedicated if they're doing research on the Scartel. This isn't the first time that the Scartel have played Perth Men's Roller Derby as well.
No, we did go and visit last year, and Perth took it out by 1 point in the last jam. All right, so this is the rematch. All right, so Steve Holt, number 62, lining up against RPG, number 71. In the back line, we have Shirley, Copter, Arsenal, and Fuzz.
And at the moment, we can't see who Perth have out on the line.
All right, Steve Holt gets him past almost all of the Scartel blockers, straight up the outside. There we go.
RPG still having a little bit of trouble at the back of the pack there.
All right, RPG gets himself out as we have one of the Perth guys heading to the bin. That's number 925.
That'd be Sparkle.
All right, Sparkle is your first penalty of the game.
So Steve Holt making a scoring pass. And calls it off just in time for RPG to score no points.
Bear with me, I'm just adjusting all the cables on this table.
And so we have all of a sudden.
Oh, look at this.
This is a matchup.
All right, so Whippersnapper, who was skating with Perth Men's Roller Derby earlier this year, lining up against his old teammate Oliver Sutton.
Just the size difference alone is
all right,
interesting.
Something is happening here. All right, just the penalty box is a little bit confused. All right, is there someone sitting in that Spank Alley penalty box?
There is still Sparkle.
All right. Okay, so there was a concern that Steve Holt might have had to go to the penalty box, but he has been released by the refs, so that's all good. So all of a sudden, we'll get to start. Now, all of a sudden is the one that I think will do the fastest laps on this ISG field.
But yes, he's have to make his way through Grinner at the front there.
All right, but here we go. How fast can he make it?
Oh, my God. Look at those arm swings. So graceful.
All right. Whippersnapper just still trying to get himself out and past.
And Scartel trying to speed up the pack just a little bit.
All right, no pack is
called.
called.
Oh.
All right, Copter wants to make a call. Hashtag no whistle, no opinion. All right, it started with Copter. It'll end with Copter.
It ends with Copter.
All right, Elton Michelle in his last tournament and in his last Scartel games of the career, he is retiring at the end of 2014, one of the leaders of men's roller derby in Australia and making sure it's at the forefront. This tournament would not be happening without the support of people like Elton Michelle, previously known as Hilton. Steve Holt just up against Fuzz. Fuzz slowing him down and out.
Bridging the pack right back. We've got Sparkle back on track to offer a little bit of offense.
Elton Michelle is your lead jammer. Steve Holt is just finding himself trapped there by the Scartel blockers. Elton Michelle goes to the out, to the in. He's your Spanky. All right, he is a Spanky-sponsored member. He gets himself a no pass, no point on that, so just gets the 4 points as Steve Holt's knocked to the outside by Hank Pfister. Another penalty is called. Oh, that's Elton Michelle getting himself a cut.
Sent for a cut track, so it leaves Steve Holt on the track for a power jam all to himself. And as he did not get lead jammer, the jam will go for a full 2 minutes.
All right, there is just over a minute left of this jam, so Elton Michelle will return to the track before the end. The Fuzz just trying to slow down Steve Holt.
We've got Knock Steady setting himself
Arsenal
up for some offense.
Knocking out
Knock Steady.
Knock Steady.
Yep.
All right. Copter there.
Oh.
Oh, Steve Holt, a hop, skip, and a jump on that inside line, gets himself the 5 points. All right, Fuzz just lining up at the back, wants to create a space there for Elton Michelle, but Steve Holt's back. It's that quick.
And Steve Holt trying to make his way through the formidable wall of Fuzz, Arsenal,
It is
and
a
Copter.
strong-looking wall. All right, we have someone in the middle of it. Who is in the middle? All right.
Fuzz getting sent for a clockwise block there. And Steve Holt making his way, tiptoeing on the outside.
Elton Michelle balancing there. Bit of slide. All right, that 2 minutes is up. So that's our first jam of the game. On a second, sorry. And we have Scartel going up to 17 points. And Perth Men's Roller Derby on 22 points.
Very close game. Very, very close game still.
That was a 17-point jam for Elton Michelle.
Woohoo!
So all the points are his currently. As all of a sudden, in those bright, bright shorts, he's bringing the beach to us. Lines up with RPG.
And we've got Shirley, Grinner, and HP offering some defense. RPG through for lead jammer. Shortly followed by all of a sudden. He will catch up super quick.
All right, Cantankerous getting himself a failure to reform, as also HP Shovecraft finds himself on the way to the Spank Alley penalty box. All right.
Okay.
4-6.
We've got Damage Inc. being sent for a failure to reform. I'd say most of the penalties today would be in relation to pack penalties, pack definition.
Actually haven't been. A lot of them have been forearms and cuts. Okay. Most of the jammer penalties have been cuts. All right. But forearms has been one of the biggest ones. This one here, it looks like it might be the out of play and pack penalties that come in play. Whippersnapper. All right, using every one of those 156 centimetres of power to push through on the outside line.
Steve Holt still having a bit of trouble against Shirley and Copter on the outside, but he's through for his initial pass.
All right, Steve Holt is out, but Whippersnapper gets there, gets himself the 4 points, just as Shirley gets himself a penalty. And Shirley, one of our dual membership skaters, he skates with the Sun State Roller Girls as well, is one of their referees. But he's lucky enough to come and skate with the Scartel as well.
So we have Fuzz on the line against all of a sudden with a little bit of camaraderie there.
All right.
All of a sudden.
This is the Scartel's captain, FE3C. In a year and a half, you'll see that with little letters, not big ones. All right, with the new rule
no
definition.
letters, depending on how you go. All of a sudden, against Elton
Michelle. It's a
Michelle
2-on-2 pack. Who can get out
all
first? All of a sudden, but Fuzz is right there. Oh, Fuzz tries to hit him. All of a sudden gives a smile. He didn't fall for it.
Okay, Scartel speeding up the pack.
Wolfman just going up. All of a sudden plays it smart, calls it off.
Okay, score update for that one. 0-0 for them, but Scartel on 24 and Perth Men's Roller Derby on 22 points.
All right, RPG with the majestic beard lining up against Steve Holt, number 62.
Not so majestic. Still working on it, maybe.
I don't know. I find it quite dapper. It's a gentlemanly beard.
Gentlemanly beard.
It's not a grizzly beard.
Gentlemanly beard. We should have made a competition for the greatest beard for the weekend.
It's a hashtag. You can hashtag it yourself.
That's true. Okay, we have Knock Steady and
All
Sparkle.
right, look at Copter holding him, making sure there's just enough movement that it's not any stop blocks. All right, he gets himself a cut.
Copter draws the cut on Steve Holt.
Explodes out of the pack. Gets himself lead because Steve Holt's pass was not legal.
And Steve Holt was also sent for an insubordination there because he failed to remove himself from the track in a timely manner. So he will sit down for 1 minute. I almost said 2 minutes.
Oh.
For 1 minute.
Faux pas.
I know. But also, considering we have such extensive amount of roller derby in one day, we have shortened the games down, which also means that you get 4 penalties and you are out of the game.
Okay, number 925. That's Sparkle. This is his second penalty.
trip.
So we have Wolfman out on the track there with Crunch.
And Captain Crunch. And Copter offering a little bit of offense there, taking out
When
Captain
you're 6'2",
Crunch.
it only needs to be a little bit to get you out. Might be more than 6'2". All right, that's some points there. Scartel just expanding that lead just a little bit. So that's 44-22.
And Steve Holt still would have a good 40 seconds or so to serve for his penalty.
All right, the Battle of the Tolls, all of a sudden lining up in the pack, probably to try to keep Copter away as well. We have Blacktooth, Grinner, Fuzz, and HB Shovecraft for the Scartel. Knock Steady and Moto.
Oh, all of a sudden knocking
Moto.
Whipper out on the outside.
I remember Moto from last year when we all went down Little Creatures Brewery.
Yeah. Whipper's still having a bit of trouble on at the front of the pack there. Steve Holt now.
Turn 2. Look at that split leg. Gets up, gets to go away.
Oh, no. Steve Holt being sent for another cutting penalty. That's his third penalty for this particular game.
That is going to be disastrous for Perth if he gets one more. Here's the star, one of the star jammers, him and Oliver Sutton.
But now Whipper being sent for a penalty. So we will have a bit of a jammer do-si-do.
All right. That's a cut there on Whippersnapper.
Got 1 minute left in this jam, and Steve Holt still to make his initial pass.
All right, Steve Holt just pushing through. It's a mania. Copter does a big love tap there.
Fuzz knocks him out to the outside.
All right, Copter there, yielding back. Soul crushing as Whippersnapper gets himself past Moto.
Scores his 5 points.
Oh, multiplayer called there on Copter.
And Whippersnapper making his way through Sparkle.
Whippersnapper gets himself down, balances on a couple of wheels. Moto getting himself a failure to reform.
Steve Holt making his way through for his initial.
Fuzz
not quite.
is back. Has to let him go, though.
Oh, someone's knee
All right,
pad
that
has
might.
fallen
Oh,
off.
no. That's Crunch there.
Elbow pad?
Oh, no, Knock Steady. All right. Gets himself the 5 points. Steve Holt hits the pack. Now, did he happen to get one?
He might have got one just at the tail
he
end.
got
2
two.
points just at the tail end there.
All right. That was a big one there. The lead is expanding. Scartel on 59. Perth Men's Roller Derby on 24.
All of a sudden up
Steve Holt has to play it calm.
All of a sudden up to jam against Elton Michelle. We've got Shirley, Hank, and
all of a sudden
Arsenal.
just pushing straight through. Gets himself lead jammer as Copter returns from the Spank Alley penalty box. Elton Michelle is right on Oliver Sutton's tail.
Perth Men's Roller Derby trying to hold at least Copter to get at least 1
Perth
point.
Men at the back.
Calling
it
it
was
off.
not the place that Oliver wanted them to be. Being at the back means the points. That's a shanking. Hashtag shanking. All right, 1 point being awarded to Elton Michelle and 0 points to Oliver Sutton.
It's only a really small shanking though. It's not like I think
it's not a flick knife.
Yeah. It's maybe more of a nail or some kind of small implement.
Butter knife?
Yeah, butter knife.
Butter
shanking.
knife.
Just whatever you had at hand.
It's the pencil stabbing.
Yeah, a compass.
All right, Fuzz there getting a start.
Hang on, where is Perth Men's Roller Derby jammer? What has happened?
I'm confused by this. What has happened?
Perth Men's Roller Derby have failed to yield a jammer, put a jammer out on the track.
Oh no.
That's what we'd call a clerical up. That is really not what they needed to do at
where
this
has
particular
Oliver
time.
Sutton gone? Where is he?
All of a sudden, he's sitting at the
okay.
bench.
Oh.
But has Steve Holt fouled out? Perhaps Steve Holt has fouled out?
I think he's still sitting at his penalty box there, so we've just got a little bit of confusion. But hey, give it up for Fuzz. Gets his team another 5 points.
Racking up the points.
One of the quietest men on the track.
Oh, huge hit there from Copter. That looked like on
All
Sparkle.
right.
No, not quite Sparkle.
Oh, he felt that. Number 85, that's Wolfman. He felt that hit by Copter. Has to go all the way back. So Pack is now back.
So Pack is back.
Oh, Shirley getting called there for a destruction. Another 5 points for Fuzz.
And Scartel
Now we want to hear all
drawing
your
the Pack
hashtags
back.
for different players and skaters. One we heard earlier this week at Brisbane City Rollers was address the Fuzz situation. All right. Right now, that is what Perth have to do. They have to stop him. They can't just sit there and let him push them out of play every time. All right, we love the diamond formation, but a strong wall that's sitting in your lap is usually more effective.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
Four wall at the front.
Oh,
still
look at this.
unable to hold Fuzz
Gets
back.
another 5 points. That's
13
bringing
seconds
up to
left.
a 30-point jam so far. He's still got 10 seconds to go. All right, Shirley gets to come out of the bin, so keeping it nice and clean.
I guess that's what you get if you don't field your jammer. If you don't put a jammer on, then of course the other jammer is going to be able to optimize on points.
That was a 35-point jam.
Woo!
All
Goodness.
I've got to say,
If I were Perth, I'd be calling a timeout right about now, just to calm everything down.
Definitely.
And sort out their stuff.
But they did all have half of them had a 2-minute break just then.
That's true.
Including the jammers.
That is true. Absolutely. Maybe that was their strategy, just to chill out. It is hot over here, so maybe they just needed to refresh and rehydrate.
All right, all of a sudden he's going to have to make up that 30 points somewhere. He's finding himself stuck.
Yes, on the inside.
Off. Arsenal just twitched at the wrong moment. All of a sudden took advantage of it and ran straight the inside.
Whoa, we've got Perth Derby boys tussling on the outside. We've got 2 being sent to the bin at the moment. That would be
Cantankerous.
That's his first penalty, I believe. And knock steady.
All right. So we have a halftime call. I'm going to go and confirm our penalties because by the looks of it, quite a few of the Perth skaters are already up to 2 or 3. So we're just going to double check it. All right, we'll be back shortly. All right, we are back. I've gotten myself a couple of penalties. There was a few that I'd missed. So we have 2 of the Perth skaters on 3 penalties.
And 2 of the Perth skaters on 2 penalties as well. And Scartel playing pretty clean. I think it's only Shirley sitting on 2 penalties at the moment.
A couple of the others on 1 penalty apiece.
But altogether, not too bad for the Scartel, playing nice and clean. And we're back to it because, as we said, we've got a full day of roller derby to be getting through. So they're 15-minute halves and 2-minute breaks in between. So not really, just enough time to go to the loo, maybe refill your water bottle.
That's it.
Sit in front of the fan for a couple of seconds. Okay, we've got a new jammer on the line for Perth. We've got Moto on his first jam of the day up against Whippersnapper. And pack-wise, Perth are very light on. They've only got All of a Sudden blocking out there for them, so he's lone wolfing.
All right.
Okay, and Moto getting pushed to the outside, having to be recycled by
Whippersnapper
Shirley.
already hitting the pack. Just going to the out to the in. Look at that. Ducks underneath all of a sudden. That was tall versus short right there.
Absolutely.
Moto wants to hit him, but using that ricochet to get himself past half the blockers. But the Fuzz making him go all the way back. That's another 5 points to the Scartel. Scartel just going past the 100-point score mark.
And Perth have full complement on the track now. Offering a little bit of defense at the back there is...
all right, Moto feeling it. He's got to shake that off.
And Whipper calling off the jam before Moto can score any points.
All right, that was a clean jam for both teams, so that's a good start into this second half.
Okay, we've got All of a Sudden backing up and jamming in the next one with RPG. And we've got Grinner, HB, Copter, and Shirley on the blocker line.
Up the front, we have Crunch. We have Wolfman. And I can't quite see one more of those skaters. It might be Steve Holt because he can't jam right now. Oh, look at them swarming on RPG. All of a sudden making that pack light work.
Running into his own blocker there, but he still seems to have managed to pass all of the skaters.
All right.
Calling it off within
now,
a
I think he might have
four-diamond wall.
Yeah, he did get all four. He just couldn't quite get out, but a high block is called there.
Oh.
Who is it called on? I think it might be Red 5. So Crunch getting himself a high block? No.
All of a sudden getting sent for a high block there.
Oh.
I don't know who it was on. Must have just been in those last couple of seconds.
It'd probably be one of the smaller skaters, considering
well,
he's
and really,
quite tall.
the last pack that just went out were all very tall, just almost as tall as All of a Sudden there. But you're right. We do have.
So a power jam to Fuzz. He did so much with the 2 minutes earlier.
Absolutely.
What can he do in 30 seconds? Gets lead before he even hits the first turn. Steve Holt trying to slow him down. Number 46, Damage Inc. But Steve Holt, that's him done.
That's his last penalty, so he'll be out for the game.
All right, so the Fuzz just coming up now. He's got a 3-pack. Now, it will be a 3-pack for the rest of the jam because I do believe Steve Holt will be told that he is done.
And all of a sudden, back on track.
It does a bit of a arm shake. I'm like, I don't know if he was sitting there and doing that at the Scartel or trying to tell the Perth boys to come and do something for him. All right,
on the inside, finding space.
All right, Fuzz calling it off there.
Score update. We currently have the Scartel on 127 points and Perth on 31. So unless the Scartel choose not to field a couple of jammers in the next little while, it's...
HB Shovecraft. All right, we have a hashtag of swoon in the crowd. I see it. She's biased. It is his lovely lady. All right. As Moto's yielded back for jamming once again.
Moto still having a little bit of trouble at the back of the pack against Shirley, Grinner, HB, no, sorry, not HB, right. Copter and Elton Michelle.
Crunch gets to return to the track. Laser hit on HB Straight is returning. All right.
Got Sparkle.
Oh, Moto getting himself a penalty. Oh, as well as Crunch. HB calls it.
Okay, Knock Steady getting sent for a failure to return, I believe. That's his third penalty. Oh.
Okay, people need to...
Stoling our pen.
All right. Thanks, buddy. All right, just so we can keep track of penalties.
Okay, we have all of a sudden up against Whippersnapper again. Pretty common duo that we've seen throughout this game. Pushed to the outside by Fister Shirley. And Shirley, last blocker to beat.
All right. All of a sudden making quick work of that. But Perth boys going to the bin as well.
Okay,
so
we got
number 85, Wolfman.
Going for another penalty. All of a sudden around for his scoring pass. Oh.
All right.
And no points scored there for Whipper. And 4 more points for Perth men's roller derby.
All of a sudden looking tired, but here he goes, Iron Manning once again.
Backing it up.
Bit of a machine. All right, timeout is called.
While we have our timeout, we would also like to thank our sponsors. Got Spank Alley, Extreme Skates, and also like to thank our refs and NSOs. They are doing an amazing job this weekend. Not only are the skaters having to fill up all of the gaps within the game, within the space of the day with roller derby, but the refs and NSOs are having to pretty much back it up all day long.
All right. So just remember, this is the Extreme Skates track. They are Brisbane and Australia's premier skate shop, providing sales and service for skateboards, longboards, skate shoes, inline skates and protective gear. For roller derby, they stock skates, wheels, protective gear and accessories, and even did a toe stop replacement for HP Shovecraft in the first game of the day. All right.
Magical. Not to mention, Franca is one of the nicest people you will ever meet in your entire life, and she gives great hugs. All
right, they offer free shipping Australia-wide on any purchases over $20, so check them out at www.extremeskates.com.au. All of a sudden, all right, just going into the out, are we going to have a bit of jammer on jammer action?
All of a sudden, looks in.
The slower it goes for Oliver, the more rest he's going to get.
Perth speeding it up, and we've got Damage Inc. getting sent for another penalty. And
all right.
They are running this one out.
Okay, all of a sudden's telling him speed it up. He wants to burn some time, and he calls it just as RPG hits the pack. I think he's going to get at least 2 points because there was one at the back. No, called it off just in time. Lucky Wolfman was not there yet.
Wolfman was not quite on track from the penalty box. He would still have to be in a not on track point. So they would have had to pass another blocker. And they were all the way at the front running away. So fair enough.
Hard work.
Okay.
All right. So Moto number 4 lining up against Scartel captain Faz. Moto's pushing hard. All right, going out then in. A forearm call there on number 85, Wolfman. All right. Faz gets himself through and around. Moto's yielded to the back just as Hank Fister goes for his first penalty of the game. But Steve Holt is... Moto is out. Faz pushing. He's got a 2-wheel to get past. Shirley trying to do some of the work for him. Gets through and calls.
A 5-point scoring pass.
Look at that score. The Scartel just getting themselves just over a ton lead. So currently 137 to 35 with just over 7 minutes remaining.
Okay, we got all of a sudden jamming for Perth with Whippersnapper on the line for the Scartel. And 3 blockers apiece, so we're playing Derby Light, but even Stevens on both teams.
Excellent. All right, Jared Quinn letting us know that there is that score overlaid on the feed. AMRD Nationals bringing it to you. Just remember to hashtag that if you've got any photos of your viewing parties or any information for us. Let us know. All of a sudden telling his pack to speed it up a little bit because Whippersnapper's on his tail. As Red 5 heads off for another penalty.
Okay.
That might be his game done. So Crunch goes to take a seat.
The Scartel Jammer ref just conferring with their pack ref. Yes, 0-0.
All right, Sparkle lining up on the jammer line. He is on 3 penalties.
That's a bold move. Also for his first jam of the day.
All right. There was a Sparkle cheer from the crowd.
I don't necessarily...
Hopefully he does jazz hands while jamming.
I was thinking I would like to see
Sparkle
his commitment
motion.
to sparkle motion with the jazz hands.
Look at this, the footwork. He's up on his toe stops. He's going out, he's going in. RPG still fighting at the front. Finally pushes himself through. Sparkle just struggling there.
Sparkle appears to have the smallest knee pads I think I've ever seen in my entire derby career. But he hasn't fallen over yet, so obviously he doesn't really need them as often.
That will be his 4th penalty. That will leave this to be a minute and a half power jam if because RPG did get lead, but if he doesn't want to call it, he can star pass it. Don't know if Shirley's ready for that, but we can see how it goes.
Is it Shirley with the...
Shirley is the pivot.
Shirley does have the pivot.
All right, RPG gets himself out. Oh, Vixen saying to call it.
Oh, okay.
All right, that's an interesting motion there.
Interesting strategy there.
All right.
I guess because Sparkle might have...
Maybe Vixen on the BCR bench was not aware that Sparkle would be fouling out. So all of a sudden is going to take a seat and rest.
Yeah.
All right, red number 5 is, I think, on either 2 or 3, so he's close as well. The Fuzz getting himself another power jam. He's loving the power jams, gets himself lead before the first turn.
Absolutely. So Scartel choosing passive offense.
Oh, big hit there by, I believe that's Damage Inc. As all of a sudden gets on.
Okay, all of a sudden fighting in the back of the pack against HP.
It's a very
Copter.
different game from last year.
And Knock Steady
making the Fuzz go back. As Crunch returns to the track. Oh, big hit there.
Yes.
Knock Steady. It's like he's gotten angry all of a sudden. That's a penalty.
So Elton Michelle getting sent for a failure to return.
All right, Cantankerous collecting up his 3rd penalty for the game. All right. We haven't seen any of the legendary whippersnapper apex jumps today.
Not for this particular
Might be a bit
jam.
warm for them.
Maybe he exhausted all of his apex jump in the first game. Maybe he only has a limited supply of apex jumps per day.
Coming up next, we have the Victorian Vanguard up against Manawatu, New Zealand's roller derby's first game for the day.
First international game.
International.
Of the game.
A cut is called. Moto. Oh, he got himself out nice and quickly, but got himself a cut. All right.
And Copter drawing a Perth blocker back and recycling.
That's Wolfman. It's been a bit of a Wolfman versus Copter in the blocker-on-blocker ratios.
Absolutely.
Wolfman getting on just in time. If Elton Michelle had gotten on track that little bit second, Wolfman might have gotten the cut.
And they're drawing the pack backwards.
Oh, Wolfman out of position. Wolfman just hanging back, letting the pack be at back. Why? Okay. That pack at back just lets Whippersnapper go.
Absolutely.
As Moto gets to return to the track. Wolfman, you've got to go in and
And
get him out.
Wolfman choosing not to offense for his jammer.
Oh, counter-directional is called on Copter. He has to go the long way round as Whippersnapper just ricocheted off and calls off that jam.
Okay.
All right, that is Copter now on his 2nd penalty.
Let us know that you are watching us, everybody, with the hashtag AMRD Nationals. Say hello. Let us know that you can hear us out there.
Let us know what you think the hashtags could be. I think it's getting pretty close to hashtag moist in this place. We're all a little bit confused. Fuzz has to yield the advantage. That lets all of a sudden go.
Okay.
RPG is stuck in the pack. How quick can all of a sudden come round?
Okay, all of a sudden making his scoring pass.
Oh, he gets himself through. Will he call it before RPG reaches? Yes, he does.
Oh. RPG making 2 points just at the back of the pack there.
Oh, when the pack starts getting tired and gets long, that's the risk you got to take.
Perth will definitely be feeling it after their second game of today. Once they have to play their second game,
they'll be playing at
12:30 today. So that's 12:30 Queensland time.
And they'll be up against Capital Carnage, who were big hitters. They were big boys on that team.
Absolutely. Elton Michelle out jamming for the Scartel.
All
makes
right,
it through
Elton
for lead
Michelle
jammer.
gets himself lead jammer. He hasn't been out to jam for a while.
And all of a sudden through for his initial pass.
All right, all of a sudden, that arm work making these laps nice and small.
Let's see if all of a sudden scored. Nope. 0
All
points
right.
just at the back of the pack there.
All right. Oh, we've got only a couple of seconds. Both teams thinking no need to put a pack out.
Okay.
All right. AMRD Nationals. We've got to wait for the official scores. Currently, we're looking at 181 to 39. Let me do some sums. All right. So that is a 142-point lead,
My
which
goodness.
would be adding to the Scartel's current lead of 96 points.
Definitely have to get a massive points differential going for catching up to that, if that was what you were wanting to do.
All right.
Okay, well, we've got a couple of minutes just to refresh, go to the loo, stand in front of a fan for a second, and we'll be back with the Victorian Vanguard against
Against Manawatu, New Zealand's roller derby.